Two quick ones. First, following up on Ouija. In the White House's view, who is to blame for the famine or imminent famine that we're witnessing right now in Gaza?
Here's our focus, and I get the question, and the humanitarian situation in Gaza, obviously, is dire, and that is why the president is doing everything that he can to get more humanitarian aid in. And that's what our focus is going to be.
Was it a mistake not to push Benjamin Netanyahu sooner to open Ashdod and the Erez crossing, which would have allowed the prevention of what Samantha Power agrees is famine in northern Gaza?
But here's the thing. For every time the president has spoken to the prime minister, there's part of that conversation has been to do more in humanitarian aid.
So why did it change now?
It didn't change. It was the conversation that.
Why did Netanyahu respond differently now?
That's a conversation for the prime minister.
The potential that the U.S. would change policy.
That is a question for the prime minister. But what I want to make sure that is very clear here is that we have seen 1,000 trucks go into Gaza over the last 3 days. That is important. They have the prime minister made commitments. They are upholding their commitments. We want to see more. We've seen good progress, and what we're seeing in Gaza, obviously, we have said over and over again that the situation, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is dire.
Last question. Can you help me understand one thing? Yesterday, the president made very clear that the U.S.'s commitment to Israel is, in his words, he said it twice, ironclad. How can the U.S.'s commitment to Israel be, quote, ironclad when in the statement released on behalf of the White House last week after his conversation with Benjamin Netanyahu, he said that the U.S. would reassess its policy as it relates to Israel, given the way it prosecutes the war in Gaza?
So
can it be ironclad and be reassessed?
Look, this is an important relationship that we have with Israel. They are our friends, and we have always said that we are committed to make sure that Israel's security, especially against these threats that we're hearing from Iran, that they are protected, and that is ironclad. We've always been consistent there. And we're going to continue to be very clear about that. The president made sure to put that at the top of his press conference because he wanted to continue that message, continue the message of making sure that America, we support Israel's security, especially against these threats that we're hearing from Iran and also their proxies. And so that hasn't changed. That hasn't changed.
Just another on Israel. The House Republicans are expected to bring up this resolution that's critical of the president's work with Netanyahu. They say in the resolution they oppose efforts to place one-sided pressure on Israel with respect to Gaza, including calls for an immediate ceasefire. Does the White House have any view on the resolution? Is this constructive?
So we believe the entire premise of the resolution is certainly flawed. As it claimed one-sided pressure against Israel, which this administration has supported militarily, diplomatically, and in myriad of other ways, both since October 7th and from our first day in office. So we oppose it, and we call on members to vote against it.
And just one more. No. The Steelworkers Union, the leader David McCall, was at the dinner last night. He obviously opposes this deal with Nippon Steel. Was he invited because of this pending deal? Was it an opportunity to allow him to speak to Japanese leaders?
I wouldn't make that connection.